I came to the United States in 2012, sort of fleeing the cartel violence in Mexico. And I went to Michigan to get a master's degree in piano performance. And while I was there, I just absolutely fell in love with choral music. Oddly enough, it was Messiah that convinced me that I really wanted to go into choral music. I landed on the University of Minnesota. I really wanted to study with Kathy Romy, and I was lucky enough to be accepted into her program as a doctoral student. And during my first year there, that's when I started border crossing. Back in 2017, border crossing was a small group that I started with some friends. I'm Mexican Egyptian and in classical music and choral music, and I wasn't seeing my culture represented the way I wanted to on the stage. There was a lot of music I wanted to hear. So I got a bunch of friends together and started performing Latin American music here in the Twin Cities. And over time, we realized that it had to be about more than just Latin American music. The Twin Cities is affectionately known as the city of 10,000 choirs. There's a choir in every corner, but it is segregated in that we are all doing our own thing in our own little pockets and not really aware of what other people are doing. And there's a vibrant immigrant culture in town, and we don't realize how we can connect with each other. So, Border Crossing is an organization dedicated to integrating a choral landscape that is segregated right now. We really do believe that the work we do is really the work of relationship. I can say our mission over and over again to integrate a historically segregated choral landscape. But ultimately, when I say to integrate, what I'm really talking about is to build and create relationships where there aren't any.
I feel that Ahmed's work with Border Crossing is absolutely essential to our choral community in terms of broadening our work, our thinking, our connection with audiences in terms of access and breaking down barriers.
Border Crossing is an organization that includes a community chorus, a professional chorus, a sheet music publishing, an educational program, so it's got a wide variety of branches and things that we do. Heritage Choir is a really old idea in our organization. So in our third year, we finally got enough funding and enough people involved to make it happen, and then the pandemic hit.
Your vocal parts, it's like another Kena to me.
Then it turned into a podcast series because we couldn't meet in person, but people were still connecting using Zoom. And this was all motivated by my friend Natalia Romero Arbeláez, who's a wonderful choral singer, educator, performer. Very quickly I realized that she was much more capable and qualified to lead something like Heritage Choir than I am.
I feel like community is formed in two ways quickly. Around a table, like breaking bread or sharing a meal with someone, or when you get to make art with somebody. Heritage Choir, when we envisioned it, was this idea to create like a place for people seeking a musical home, right? And Heritage Choir is about our stories and how music intertwines with our life, our culture, our heritage. It's an interesting mix of people. Some of the community that is part of Heritage Choir is Latino or Chicano. So for some of us, it's about getting to sing in Spanish and make music in Spanish. Other people just love singing in Spanish and they haven't found a place where they can do it. Bele mama, bele mama. One of the areas that I really have been pushing is education and community outreach. And then now, more formally, I'm working as our education coordinator with a Chorus America grant that we received, where we're working with 4 partner schools and bringing in residencies, musicians. And my role is to kind of create curriculum centered around what teachers need and what Border Crossing has, or where we can, provide our expertise into the classroom.
Education is a big pillar of Border Crossing's work, simply because a lot of the music that we perform is not taught in music schools. A lot of teachers don't know how to do it or feel a little worried about approaching repertoire that they're not culturally familiar with. So we started visiting schools, at first as part of Class Notes, a program that is run by Minnesota Classical Public Radio. And then we started a partnership with Chorus America, and we started our own educational program this year. We really want to create something that's sustainable, and I'm hoping that the students that are listening to our performances now will be future ensemble members, audience members, supporters, or just people that sing and play and appreciate their cultural heritage or others in a new way.
What I think is so exciting is to see how much the ensemble has connected with many different parts of our community, whether that's through education, whether that's through civic performances, professional performances, recording. I think that Ahmed has really brought an incredible vision to his work with border crossing, and there are no limits for Ahmed.
The Minnesota audiences are smart and nuanced, and they are used to good music. My dream is for us to be a nationally recognized organization and to keep sharing this idea of we live in communities where so many of us are crossing borders. So many of us exist in this duality. So let's find music, or let's program music, or let's commission music that reflects those identities.
It was sort of unexpected that of all places in the world, St. Paul, Minnesota was a place where exciting things in Latin American music were all of a sudden happening. It's been wonderful to see how border crossing is growing into a larger and larger community, not just in the Twin Cities, also abroad. This is also the first time that I've looked at border crossing and felt a certainty that we're still going to be here 10 years from now.